The Galactic Council had made what they considered a mercy decision. When humanity first reached beyond their home system, the elder races had watched with a mixture of pity and disdain. These peculiar bipeds from Sol 3 Earth, as they called it, were unlike any species the galaxy had encountered in 10,000 years of recorded history. Diana. Chen stood before the holographic display in the command center of Outpost Kepler 442b, her dark eyes scanning the incoming transmission with growing disbelief. The message was clear. Humanity had been granted colonization rights to Terminus 7, a world the Council had deemed uninhabitable by all civilized standards. Oliver Martinez, her second-in-command, leaned against the console beside her, his weathered face betraying no emotion as he processed the same information. "They think they're punishing us," Oliver said quietly, his voice carrying that peculiar calmness that came from years spent in hostile environments. "They don't understand what they've done. Terminus 7 was a nightmare by galactic standards. The planet orbited a binary star system, subjecting its surface to radiation levels that would kill most sentient species within hours. Its gravity was 1.4 times Earth standard. The atmosphere was a toxic soup of methane and sulfur compounds. Hypercanes, storms that made Earth's hurricanes look like gentle breezes, ravaged the surface with winds exceeding 800 kilometers per hour. The native flora had evolved crystalline structures that could slice through standard exosuits like paper. And the fauna. The Council's drones had documented predators that made Earth's extinct megafauna seem domesticated. The Zintharian ambassador had delivered the proclamation with barely concealed satisfaction. Humanity, being newcomers to the galactic stage, would be given this opportunity to prove their worth. It was a death sentence wrapped in diplomatic language, and everyone knew it. What the Council didn't know, what they couldn't possibly understand, was that Earth itself was classified as a Class 9 death world by their own taxonomy. The humans had simply never told them. 3 standard galactic years later, Diana stood on the observation deck of the GCS Harmony, the Council's flagship, as it approached Terminus 7. She had been invited to present humanity's progress, or more likely to explain their inevitable failure. Oliver stood beside her, now bearing the title of Colonial Administrator, his formal uniform doing little to soften his frontier-hardened appearance. The Zintharian ambassador, Kelvrith, approached with his entourage. His chitinous plates gleamed under the ship's artificial lighting, and his compound eyes sparkled with what Diana had learned to recognize as smug anticipation. "Commander Chen, Administrator Martinez," Kelvrith's translator rendered his clicking speech into flat, emotionless standard. "I trust your colony has managed adequately? We have prepared rescue facilities for any survivors." Diana smiled, a predator's smile that made Kelvrith's antennae twitch nervously. "Why don't we show you, Ambassador?" The shuttle descended through Terminus 7's violent atmosphere. The Council delegates huddled in their seats, their various forms of distress apparent despite their alien physiologies. Only the 2 humans seemed unaffected by the turbulence that threw the craft around like a toy. When they broke through the cloud layer, silence fell over the passenger compartment, where the Council's satellites had shown barren wasteland, cities now sprawled across the continents. Not the delicate climate-controlled biodomes they had expected, but robust structures that seemed to grow organically from the hostile terrain. Massive wind turbines, hundreds of thousands of them, captured the energy from the hypercanes. Crystalline farms harvested the native flora, which humans had discovered contained compounds that revolutionized their fusion reactors. The radiation that should have killed them powered solar arrays of unprecedented efficiency. "Impossible," Kelvrith whispered, the translator barely catching it. Oliver leaned forward, his voice carrying through the silent cabin. "Population 47 million. GDP, exceeding the Zintharian core worlds. We've domesticated 6 species of what you called apex predators. They make excellent working animals. The crystalline flora you documented, we've cultivated 17 varieties. The radiation, our cancer rates are actually lower than on Earth. Turns out the specific wavelengths stimulate cellular repair mechanisms we didn't know we had." The shuttle landed in the capital city, New Darwin. The delegates emerged into what should have been a hellscape. Instead, they found themselves in a thriving metropolis. Humans walked the streets without protective gear. Their bodies adapted after just 3 generations to conditions that would kill any council species instantly. Children played in parks where crystalline trees swayed in winds that would have been classified as severe storms on any civilized world. Diana guided them to the colonial headquarters, where holographic displays showed the true scope of humanity's achievement. Mining operations extracted resources the Council hadn't even known existed. Agricultural zones produced food in quantities that defied physics. Research facilities had made breakthroughs in materials science, energy production, and bioengineering that would take other species centuries to achieve. "You sent us to a death world," Diana said, addressing the assembled delegates in the main conference hall. "What you didn't realize is that we came from one. Earth's gravity is higher than 70% of Council worlds. Our atmosphere is so corrosive that it rusted metal and weathered stone to dust. Our weather patterns include tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards, and droughts that occur randomly and without warning. Our native predators evolved alongside us, forcing us to become persistence hunters. We can literally run prey to death. We survived ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and our own technological adolescence." Oliver pulled up a comparison chart. "Earth's difficulty rating by your own classification system? Class 9 Deathworld, Terminus 7, Class 9. You didn't send us to hell, Ambassador. You sent us to a place that reminded us of home." Kelvrith's translator remained silent, perhaps unable to render the ambassador's state of shock into standard. "But here's what you need to understand," Diana continued, her voice harder now. "We didn't tell you about Earth's true nature because we wanted to join your council as equals, not as curiosities or threats. We downplayed our capabilities because we value cooperation over intimidation. We accepted your gift of Terminus 7 because we saw it not as punishment, but as opportunity." She gestured to the window, where the city sprawled under twin suns. "In 3 years, we've turned your worst nightmare into our newest home. We've built a civilization here that will outlast empires, and we've done it all while maintaining our application for council membership, playing by your rules, respecting your protocols." Oliver stepped forward, his presence suddenly dominating the room, despite his unremarkable height by galactic standards. "But make no mistake, we remember. We remember that you sent us here to die. We remember that you saw us as expendable, and now you see what humans can do when you try to kill us." The silence stretched for long moments before Diana's expression softened slightly. "We're not here to threaten anyone. We're still applying for council membership. We still want to be partners in this galactic community, but the terms have changed. You no longer get to decide what humanity is capable of. We've proven that ourselves." She turned to face the delegates directly. "So here's our proposal. Full council membership, with voting rights and territorial sovereignty recognized across all human colonies, including Terminus 7. In exchange, we'll share our adaptation technologies, our resource extraction methods, and our environmental engineering techniques. We'll open up dozens of worlds you've classified as uninhabitable. We'll expand the Council's reach into regions of space you've written off as too hostile. Or," Oliver added quietly, "you can reject our application again, but know that humanity has already proven we don't need your permission to thrive. We'll continue to expand, continue to colonize worlds you fear, continue to push into the dark spaces between stars. The question isn't whether humanity will become a major power in this galaxy. It's whether you want us to do it as your partners or as your competitors." 3 months later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was granted full membership, with all rights and privileges therein. As Diana and Oliver walked through the halls of the council station, heading toward their first official session, Oliver chuckled softly. "What's funny?" Diana asked. "They sent us to a death world thinking it would break us," Oliver replied. "Instead, we reminded the galaxy of something they'd forgotten in 10,000 years of comfortable civilization." "What's that?" "That sometimes the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't the environment. It's the species that learn to master it." Behind them, in humanity's new council chambers, the flag of United Earth hung beside those of 100 other species, a blue marble that had forged its children in fire, preparing them for a galaxy that didn't know what it had awakened.